Hello and welcome to Castar Reviews. Today we're looking at a Banjo-Kazooie game in all but name, Yooka-Laylee. They're not even trying to be fucking subtle with that title. The developers, Playtonic Games, are made up almost entirely of former Rare employees, so for fans that backed this game on Kickstarter a few years ago, this is exactly what was promised. Speaking of that Kickstarter, it raised £2 million, which is about $2.6 million, and as a result, Playtonic made another game, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which is a homage to Donkey Kong Country and 2D platformers like that. Even though I didn't enjoy Banjo-Tooie, maybe Yooka-Laylee decided to take more elements that I liked from Banjo-Kazooie. Without further ado, let's find out. This is Yooka-Laylee. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A big villain decides to steal a bunch of artifacts / MacGuffins to try and conquer the world. That's more or less the plot of Yooka-Laylee. The big villain, capital B, runs a mega corporation and wants to use this book, known as the One Book, to rewrite the universe. But the pages of the book flew out, and now it's up to Yooka the Chameleon and Laylee the Bat to get these pages back and put the One Book back together again. They're also aided by Trouser, who is a snake that sells them abilities for this game's version of Notes, and Vendy, a vending machine that helps the duo out with their tonics. Wait, the snake character is named Trouser? Man, what is it with these guys and dick jokes? Jeez. Anyway, once you collect 100 pages, you can challenge Capital B in his lair in a pretty awful final boss fight that I'll get into later. You save the day and all is right with the world, until you see after the 3-hour-long credits that there might be a larger force at play here. All in all, the story isn't groundbreaking, but as I seem to say in every review of this series, I don't expect it to be in a game of this type. As long as there's something resembling a story, I'm alright. If I were to imagine what a 90s platformer would look like in 2017, Yooka-Laylee would be the closest thing to what I pictured. The art style is awesome, it's bright, colorful, and vibrant. The model quality is great too, it feels like you're playing a Saturday morning cartoon with how everything looks. While I praised Banjo's Kazooie and Tooie for changing up the world themes, Yooka-Laylee's 5 worlds mostly reuse old tropes except for Galleon Galaxy. Galleon Galaxy looks really cool if you ask me. The combination of a pirate theme and a space theme works surprisingly well. A couple sentences ago, I said the Yooka-Laylee only has 5 worlds, but it's actually a bit more complicated than that. You can spend more pages to expand each world and add new collectibles. The cool touch with this is that the game shows you exactly what's new in each world. At full size, each world is chock full of stuff to do, and I'd rather have 5 worlds with a ton of content as opposed to 10 that have barely anything. The music is great as well, with the legendary David Wise taking up the Pro Tools desktop. The music is catchy, thematically sound, and pretty atmospheric. Tribal Stack Tropics is probably my favorite theme, with Capital Casino coming in a close second. The sound design is also pretty good, with the sound effects adding to the cartoon aesthetic. One thing I wish they changed was the voice acting. Guttural noises don't fucking fly in 2017 Playtonic Games. It made sense back in the cartridge and cassette days of 1998, but now there's no excuse. What started out as a cute touch has now become annoying and grating over time. Voice acting aside, the presentation feels like a proper evolution of the older Banjo-Kazooie games, even more so than Nuts and Bolts. Need I say more about the gameplay? It's a traditional 3D collectathon with the Bat and Chameleon completing various objectives to collect shit. This time though, there are a ton more things to collect. This game has a whopping 145 pages and 25 pages per world except for the hub world, which has 20. My question is, why 145? Maybe this is my OCD talking, but you could have easily made the overall collectible number a nice even 150 and made every world including the hub have 25 pages each. Speaking of the hub world, you unlock different book worlds by finding them in Ivory Tower and spending a certain amount of pages. I like this method of unlocking worlds, since it encourages you to play the game and not just rush through it. The thing I feel iffy about is world expansion. Technically you don't have to expand any worlds, you can achieve the 100 page quota doing the bare minimum. I like the feature and concept, but thinking about it now, I'd rather have everything open from the start. For some expanded worlds, you need abilities earned later in the game to get pages, so it's that backtracking problem I had with Banjo-Tooie. At risk of repeating myself, I'd rather be able to complete every objective in a world with the abilities I've gained up to that point, just like in Banjo-Kazooie. On the subject of those objectives, they're pretty fun with some glaring exceptions. Most of the pages require some semblance of platforming that is fun and controls well. There's also retro-style minigames in each world that grant you pages for beating it with a high score. Sadly, this is where the problems start to show. Oh boy, Capital Casino has some sadistically difficult missions to complete. Starting with Hurdle Hijinks, the minigame. It controls terribly, there are glass bridges that obscure your view when you need to have frame-perfect reactions. The game likes to let you think you can recover from hitting an enemy by accident, but you actually can't. The other missions involve Kartos, an old minecart. You have to platform over pits with enemies in the minecart that controls like a car with a broken accelerator. You also have to get a certain number of gems in this course, and it feels like they made it so you have to be perfect to get the required gems, but that's not all. Once you beat that level, you need to fight Inept, which is the boss of Capital Casino, on a minecart. You also have to make the same sort of dodges as the previous level and have the pattern recognition that's a shared theme with all 3 of these shitty missions. But at least with those, you can skip all of those pages and still make it to the final boss. The final boss himself is a different story entirely. Capital B is fought in 4 phases, and it's hard to tell how many hits you need to land to move on to the next phase. There are also no checkpoints or even health restoring butterflies in between phases. The hit detection on some of his attacks is off, and the last phase requires you to fly, which drains your limited power meter. Honestly, I was having a ton of fun up until Capital Casino and then the final boss. My advice would be to take your time and use the sonar explosion to blow away any annoying bees in the latter stages of the fight. Also, equip either the Well Ore tonic to increase your health or the Live Wire tonic to increase power meter regeneration. As frustrated as I was when beating the final boss and with the annoyances of Capital Casino, I still enjoyed the majority of the game and would recommend you play it, just try not to go for 100%. Yooka-Laylee, for better or worse, takes a lot from Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. The things I loved about Kazooie, the minimal fetch quests and the dense hub worlds, were great in Yooka-Laylee, but the things I hated about Tooie, mainly the backtracking and unnecessary mission gimmicks, still showed up to try and ruin my good time. If you swear by both Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie, you probably already have this game and its spin-off. But if you're on the fence about purchasing, I'd recommend playing Banjo-Kazooie. Rare Replay goes for pretty cheap nowadays if you have an Xbox One, and it's still in the Xbox Live Arcade if you have a 360. Thank you for watching this episode of Castar Reviews. Subscribe for more content from me and follow me on Twitter for production updates. See you soon.